All right, Grasshoppers, it's Monday. That means it's Mark Puttenvink Monday, and it's a sad, sad time of the year. And I don't know if you understand, Mark, but it's getting colder. It's getting colder, so Mark is covering up a little bit more. Now we've gone to now a full long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
To all the people that show up just to watch and see what he's not wearing. We're very disappointed right now, but that's what we have to deal with. So again, Mark Puttenvink, Patriot Training Systems. Longtime trainer of everybody from Navy SEALs to, I shouldn't put it that way. I go from Navy SEALs to housewives. That's the connotation that the housewives are down there. That's just not accurate. So it's just all kinds of people.
Yeah,
they'll train. Great guy. Him and I have become very good friends. A lot of same beliefs about training and the military, and patriotism, and fitness, and all that. So, how you doing today?
Good. Hey, the Jets play yesterday. Did they have a game?
Man, that was bad. So I was. I had to go to the Garden yesterday. I was down at the Garden. They had a junior Rangers skate. So we skated in the afternoon around 2:00, and then it was great. I had this big room with a big screen TV, so I just sat there and watched hockey or watched football. So it's good. And now to top it all off, a good friend of yours showed up. They were playing the Devils, so Kenny Danico showed up. We had a little chat too.
Oh, you talked to him? Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, we were talking about you. We were saying bad things about you behind your back.
Well, that's easy. Yeah.
He looks like he's in good shape, right?
Kenny, yeah, you know what? He, as we all know, and Kenny's very public with it, he had struggled with some addiction issues for quite a period of his life and playing career, and he's been sober, I think, 11 years now.
Yeah, cool. That's good.
So you could see it.
And you really can see how he looks healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kenny, I always said to everybody, Kenny is a great guy with a bad problem. He's not a bad guy. He never threw anybody under the bus. Like you and I know guys that have had addiction issues that throw everybody under the bus. Yeah. He never did that. He always took ownership of it, and not a great guy.
Yeah, he never made excuses. He said, "Listen, I did it." Yeah.
Yeah.
How did his? So is that his original? I don't want to pry too much, but his original wife, like they stayed together and everything.
No, so he was married to Jonathan Panico, and they have two children, Shane and Taylor. They were divorced, and he married a woman by the name of Margaret. And he's still very close to Jonathan because the kids. They all, it's similar to my situation. Although I'm not married, but I still work with my boy's mom. We parent them together. I mean, they're men now, but I used to, when I first got separated and later divorced, Kenny would have me over for Christmas. And it was always, and he would attest to this, it was always like just a shootout. Like, maybe you got the salad and then an hour later you got cake and then an hour later the turkey came out. It was fun. We had a great time.
Yeah. Good. Speaking of addiction, I'm working with some gentlemen up in Canada that have a CBD company. They're also into the psychedelics. And it appears I'm learning more and more. You may know this already. Mm-hmm. A lot of people really believe that the psychedelics can help with addiction, kind of like resetting the brain and everything. Do you believe that?
Yeah, they call it microdosing. So they've done it. They've done it in the past with LSD.
Sorry, Mark, sorry to interrupt you really quick. I just got to get to this one because I like this topic you're going to talk about. So there is Lou, the loose cannon right there. She's one of the mothers that started Selly Salt. So I just got this hat. I just went out to the garbage to take the garbage out, and there the box was. So I had to put it on. Lou, thank you very much. There you go. All right.
Great product.
Yes. Yeah. So sorry, go ahead. We were talking about psychedelics.
So they originally, this whole microdosing.
Mark, what's the technical name for psychedelics? What is it?
Well, psychedelics. I mean, you got different types of they're mind altering. You have LSD.
No, but there's a broad name. Maybe I'll look up. There's another name for it. A broad name, more of a technical name for psychedelics. But okay.
Well, the psychotropics.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. But in any event, so they started off microdosing with LSD. Now they've kind of shifted towards mushrooms, and I know that they are using them for PTSD.
I heard that.
Vets and with depression and just general public. It's not enough to get you high. That's why they call it a microdose. Right. So they monitor it very closely, but it seems to be very effective, and it's certainly a new wave now, and I like it.
So the concept, and I'm using very, very general terms. The concept is it kind of removes the thing that caused the PTSD is kind of removed from your brain. Is that?
I don't know the mechanism to how it works, but it does seem to alleviate a lot. I'm not in this field particularly at all, but I think with PTSD and depression, maybe there's some things that they need to release. That's my guess. And this helps them release it.
Yeah, definitely. I know like it's a big topic with our NHL alumni. I'm sure all the other professional sports alumni, there's a lot of issues with, there is some PTSD, but also some drug and alcohol issues. And I think Glenn Haley's doing a really good job, the former Ranger, and I played with
Yeah.
Glenn in LA. He's the head of the Alumni Association now. Really, in talking to him, really progressive, looking at things like psychedelics and
Right.
anything that can help the former players.
Yeah, I actually I did a clinic with Bill Brown. We did a training thing down at a rink 2 summers ago, and the owner of the rink is in pharmaceuticals, and we started talking about the veterans in the Warriors program I started, and he said that he has close to a patent on an aerosol nasal application of ketamine. And
yes, I've heard this. Yes.
Yeah. And so what happens is if a veteran or anybody starts to have suicidal ideation, they immediately just spray the stuff and it removes the thought out of their head. Oh. Again, way above my pay grade. In fact, I owe money just for being able to say that, but I don't know how it works, but it seems to be effective. And they've been using ketamine for quite a while. And ketamine kind of falls into that category of the psychotropics as well.
Right. I was down in Virginia Beach with that Warrior for Life Fund, I guess it's a couple of years ago now. And after we were playing, they took us over to this former SEAL had this training facility. So it's like for physical training and rehab and all that, and getting guys ready to go over for deployments as well. But he also was really into, they were actually doing the shock treatment.
Oh, yeah.
I was really surprised that was still naivete, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't think they were still doing that, but apparently they are. Yeah.
Yeah. And they had
I would think it's not what it used to be.
Yes.
I'm sure it's a much milder, less invasive type of.
Yeah. And he was really interested in the way the doctor explained it, how it's just part of the whole therapy process. But
so what I do know.
That's the same thing with psychedelics too, right? That's just part
of it. So what I do know, all this is attached to therapy. It's not just a standalone. Yeah. So you do the microdosing, you're still in therapy, whether it's group therapy or one-on-one or a combination of those things.
Right. Yeah, I think with the microdosing and talking to these guys that I'm with up in Calgary, that it's definitely, it's not just, okay, we're going to give you this and then see you later. The whole process. Yeah.
So I want to get into more of that. In fact, a mutual friend of ours, Dan, his wife is very involved in that, and because I want to see what I can do how I can get that to my veteran community. Of the
actually, I'm trying to get a hold of Dan myself today
as well. Yeah. Because I would like to get more learned about it, just in a general sense. But I think it's certainly encouraging. And I hit 22 suicides a day on average. In our Warrior hockey community, we lost quite a few last year. Yeah, and we just lost one about 3 weeks.
Speaking of that, hold on. I saw a very handsome dude on TV on Friday night.
Yeah.
And don't make a smart comment here. That okay? Very very handsome young man.
Oh, Jesus.
He had his shirt on actually. Yeah. That was a very nice thing. So I was watching the Devils game, and they had so that was it Thursday or Friday night?
Thursday, Veterans Day.
It's Veterans Day. That's right. So they had a really nice thing on your project, the New Jersey Warriors.
Correct.
And it was very nice. They had the one guy speaking.
Yeah. So Jimmy Jam, Jimmy Connors, we affectionately call him Jimmy Jam. And he was our first goaltender, one of our first players. And when I watched the tape later, a couple days later, because obviously I didn't see it because I was at the game, but I was moved by it because Jimmy really he said things that I didn't realize how important of a thing we're doing. I knew it was a good thing. Yeah. But to hear him really explain to the audience what it's done for him, it was moving.
Certainly he really spoke well. I'm the same as you. I was watching. Yeah. That was pretty emotional.
Jimmy's our go-to guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had so last year during COVID, we had practice down at Prudential, and then I got interviewed by Sports Illustrated. So a woman a reporter out in California, and she's very involved in veteran programs. And, I wasn't really clearly thinking, Tom, because I wore a bikini. I thought maybe they wanted me to be in the swimsuit edition. I had this pink polka dot yellow. It was awesome.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. But no, I did do that. We utilize Montclair State University, which is a local university here in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. I had coached hockey there in 2010, 11, 12, something like that. My son played there with a good friend of mine, Robbie Martinez. Ted Curtin, a co-founder and vice president, he has a friend of his who's a professor currently there in the communications department. So we utilize his communication. Like, this is a project for the kids every semester to work with us. And they've done an outstanding job, incredible job. So like this Sports Illustrated thing, that was MSU got that together for us. We've been on NBC local, CBS, I believe, local, and so we've got some really good people. Kids, it's great to see them doing such a good job.
Yeah, it is fantastic. So as everybody knows, I was in the parade in Manhattan.
Yeah, how cool was that?
Well, and it was cool. So don't get me wrong when I say this, but it's also kind of. So I was with the Wounded Warrior Project, which obviously means that all these people that were there were wounded warriors. Some of us like PTSD, some of missing limbs, wheelchairs. So in one way, it's fantastic for me to be there. It was an honor, but it's also kind of sad in a way too. We honor them for one day, and then they have to live with all this stuff, for 364 other days a year. And I guess I understand it as COVID and everything. It was during the middle of the day, but even the parade itself I was hoping for a little bit more people there cheering them on, showing their appreciation. Yeah. And there were people there, but it wasn't as much as I had hoped for.
New York, I think
it was great to be a part of, but it was just
the city right now is just a tough place to be. Yeah. My older son, Sean lives there.
Yeah. Well, it is I was at the Ranger game last night, and the building wasn't sold out again. We were at a game a while ago too, and it's the Rangers, good team. I think a lot of people have really, and this is my interpretation. There's a lot of reasons, right? I mean, the vaccine is mandated now to go in. I think people are maybe still a little afraid. I also think people kind of change their way of living their life a little bit too. Staying home more
and I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. And in fact, I was talking to somebody about this a while back where. During COVID, all the gyms were closed. So like Bill Brown and myself and a couple of guys were in the woods and we're doing our thing. And now that the gyms are open, I'm still in the woods.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, which probably makes the gym members very happy that I'm still up in the woods. But speaking of, you saw guys missing limbs and so forth at the parade. This week, starting Thursday in Ice Vault in Wayne, New Jersey, is the National Sled Hockey Tournament. So you're going to have all different disciplines of sled hockey right up to the Olympic program. There's going to be about a half a dozen or 8 Olympians there. They're going to have a Stanley Cup there. And we're going to be going down Saturday. When I say we, my Warriors, we're going down Saturday because they're going to have a quote unquote learn to skate for kids that have never been, obviously they're required sled to get around. And the local rep here, the Atlantic District Disabilities Hockey representative, Alex DePalma, he raised money and he bought a whole bunch of new sleds for these kids.
Nice.
So we're going to be on the ice pushing the kids around.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned before you. So it's been a couple of years now, but for a couple of years in a row, the Rangers had me down representing the Rangers sled hockey team in the Disability Pride Parade in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Disability Pride Parade. I think what they called it. And I know I've told the story, but these kids were hilarious. Not just kids, the adults too. They were in the sleds. They were all in their wheelchairs and everything. But so we're marching along, and I'm up front. And I'm holding the banner and a whole bit on one end. Somebody else holding the banner on the other end. And one of the young kids came up beside me in the wheelchair, and we were chatting. And I accidentally bumped into his wheelchair. So I was just joking around, pretending, my leg, it's hurting and everything. I'm not thinking that this whole thing through. So now I hear this Tom in the background, the other people in their wheelchairs go, "Tom, you okay?" and everything. And I'm thinking now they're really caring. I'm kind of feeling bad that I pretended I hurt my leg.
Right. Yeah.
So now they keep going. They go, "Oh, poor Tommy," and I'm thinking they're giving it to me.
They're giving it. They're giving it business. Man. Yeah.
You're worried about your leg, Tom. We're missing all of them, for God's sake. So
and that's the amazing thing. These guys.
Great attitudes. Yeah.
You've seen it at the high level. They really get at it. I mean,
totally. There's another one that we're at the start of the same thing. We're at the start of the parade. We're standing in an area. There's a few of us around. One mother standing there with her son, and he's like 18 or 19 years old. He's in the wheelchair, and she left to go. It was a hot day. She left to go to a 7-Eleven or something to get a bottle of water. And then they came and called us. We had to get ready to go to the staging area. So this boy was going to be sitting there by himself in the wheelchair on the corner. So I said, "Are you going to be okay? Like you're here by yourself?" He goes, "Tom, I'm how do you say it? I'm handicapped. I'm not stupid." He says, and he's laughing when he says it. They were fantastic.
Well, it's just almost like the lull that we fall into when we have assumptions.
Yeah,
we have these predisposed thoughts of what people should be and should not be.
You listen to that every day. The thought that the help from me was like,
that's amazing. That's good stuff. But so we're excited, and part of what Ted and I and what we're trying to do is not only provide an environment for the players, but also they like to give back too as well.
Yeah.
We've done quite a few. I think we've done about 3 or 4 special needs children where we show up and we skate around with them and help them, and it makes the guys feel great, and it's a good thing. So it's part of the whole therapeutic environment.
Definitely. So shifting gears here to the coaching world. I don't know if you heard up in Brewster, New York, we had an incident with a coach.
I saw that.
Yeah. And I actually know the coach very well. I've known him for quite a few years. And spoken. I will get into the details of it because it's an ongoing legal matter.
Right.
But on the subject of just the general subject of coaches and young kids and any physical contact you have with them at all, I think we've all at one point or another, whether it's kind of joking around or, the kids are getting unruly and they're trying to push them in the right direction on the ice. It's, it's funny. You can see it both ways, right? If I'm a parent in the stands, I don't want to see another human being put their hands on my child.
No.
But at the same time, again, when you're coaching, you're having fun sometimes. So it's,
well, I think, certainly for young kids, you don't get physical with them. Yeah. I think when they get to be like the high school age, you have to get physical, especially when you're demonstrating something, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And I think it also feeds off the personality of the coach. I don't know this gentleman. I've heard great things about him. I know he's coached a lot of guys that are in the NHL now.
Yeah.
If not being there and not seeing it could have been something that was totally misconstrued by the people that are pressing charges. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But
and we also have cases where when you coach, as you know, sometimes you have to make decisions about who's on the team, who's not on the team, who gets played, who doesn't get played, disciplinary. And sometimes people carry a grudge. Now, I'm not saying that's the case here, but it does happen. And you wonder, okay, is this to get back at the coach or whatever? And now, again, I know you're the same way. We want to be very clear. We don't know all the details. And it may be a legitimate case where the coach did something wrong, but it's a tough one.
It's a serious issue. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened. I've seen it when I was a kid. I'm sure you've seen it growing up. And back then, in all sports, if a coach got physical with you, the last dude you want to tell is your father, because he's going to finish the job the coach did. Back when we were kids. But times have changed, and I think it's better now, because there were a lot of kids that were abused by both players and coaches. So we certainly don't want to ever see that happen again. But it's a very, in hockey, it's such a heated thing, and when you're, it can happen in a flash. And
well, it's interesting, right? Because we had a discussion on Thursday with the guys. We do the show where we were talking about Bob Murray in Chicago, the general manager, a longtime player. So he's now gotten relieved of his duties. Alcohol program. And he's and again, same thing, don't know the details, but I can just assume he's that old school guy and drinking beer all the time. And if his way of disciplining people or correcting them is getting in their face and yelling at them, calling them names, you can't do that anymore. It's just,
you can't. And I think even at the professional level, it's probably even more so now, because, back a while back, let's put it this way. Every player now is his own franchise.
Yeah.
He may wear a Ranger jersey, but at the end of the day, he's his own business. He's multimillionaire. And so it's tough for him. He knows that a coach, he'll be there longer than a coach will be.
Yeah. And the yelling and screaming, like looking back at it now, it's like hazing too. I'm thinking, it doesn't do any good. It's like kids aren't motivated by getting yelled at. No. They may be afraid, but that's not teaching them anything. That's not motivating.
Well, I also think part of it, Tom, is that when you need to raise your voice a little bit, and all you've been doing is screaming, they don't even hear you. They shut you off a long time ago.
These young people now are much more educated, the social media and everything now. So we got into a pretty good debate, as Gresh and I, and we're great friends and everything. And we were kind of not totally on opposite ends, but he was like, well, there's got to be a fine line. You should be able to yell at people. Can't be so soft. Well, it's not about being soft. Again, I think people understand, like in the workplace, like too, like in Bob Murray's case, here, part of the issue was the workers there with Anaheim. And you gotta, you're representing a company that people have legal rights.
Well, he obviously has an addiction issue. So, that I'm sure entered into his clarity of judgment and things of that nature. I do think that the game has changed so much so, Tom, that, and we could talk for a week on this. What caused the game to change? I think removing the red line was one of them. I think, there's a lot of factors, but, no longer having enforcers and things of that nature. So, we were taught to, when a guy's come up, to hook him.
Totally.
So it was a different game. It was a more physical game than it is now. And I'm not saying it isn't physical because, we can watch any game any given night. You see guys just get absolutely smoked, but it's a different kind of physical now.
Yeah, you're right. Intimidation and fighting was part of the strategy
Right.
of the game back then. It's just not now. It's just a whole different
No.
game. Yeah, I'm with you. The game's changed so much you can't compare. But and again, I love the game too. Like we were at the Garden last night. It was a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Although your boy Piquet Subban, he's getting a habit of the sloop.
Yeah, I'm not this guy. The league's got to step down on him.
Yeah. Did you see the play last night? I didn't even see the play last night.
I didn't see it, but I read about it in the paper this morning. I'm saying, here we go again. And I'll tell you what, this guy, if he keeps up, he's going to end a guy's career.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And we've seen what happens to guys that I won't name names, but the retribution will come.
Totally, yeah.
And then the guy who does it ends up getting in trouble.
Right. Yeah, totally. Speaking of that, on Netflix, and I've been told about this many times to watch it. There was a show, and I can't remember what the name of it was. Hold on, was it Tom and hold on here. Barbarians on Ice. Hold on. Our boy Rod Jameson up in Buffalo here. Tom McGrath, last of the Barbarians on Ice. Thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a compliment. Yeah.
Definitely. So you may watch it. There's a show, and I can't remember the name. It's about the owners that were kind of in the mob.
Not kind of.
Yeah. The Danbury Trashers. Have you seen the
Yeah.
show?
Yeah. Well, I kind of had some experience. So Dave McIsaac, who
The former player?
yeah, he played for Hartford. He was in the Rangers. In fact, he was in Hartford when I was with the Rangers.
Right.
Kind of a tough guy, big dude, enforcer kind of guy. He ended up playing there, and I think he ended up coaching. And he called me up one day, and he said, "Hey, you got any defensemen in the area? I need a guy just to play for the weekend." I'm going through my Rolodex. I go, "Yeah, I know one guy. He's a cop now." I call him up and said, "Nicky, you can play this weekend if you want." He goes, "Mark, I'm not in shape." I go, "You'll probably be like a number 7. Don't worry about it, right?" Call him next day. How'd it go? He goes, "I was number 4. There were 4 guys."
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. But that's an interesting. I mean, and that can you imagine? A 17-year-old kid is the president of even at that level, a professional hockey team.
That was a classic story. They're telling about how like they had the president of the league on their commissioner of the league talking about he was going to come down on them. And they're kind of laughing. Like one guy, like the trainer, the ball.
Oh my God, he was right out of Hollywood. That dude.
He was hilarious. That was good. So anybody that hasn't seen it, there's Danbury, Connecticut. There's a USHL.
No, it's UHL. It's in, United Hockey League, I think it was back then.
So they had a franchise up in Danbury, and the mobster and garbage collector, Jimmy Galfoni or
yeah, something like that.
Tony or something. So he was the obviously the father, lots of money, and he bought the team. His son had been a hockey player, got hurt, couldn't play anymore. Right. So his 17-year-old son, so he gave it to his son to run. And it was hilarious how it went from being they looked like not knowing anything they're doing, and they wanted a real tough team and all goons and everything, but they also had some good players. They ended up winning the championship a couple times in the
league. I mean, they had Roman Endor play for New York.
Yeah.
They had Mike Rupp.
Yeah.
Mike Rupp came to play.
So I didn't realize it, but a good friend of mine here in Greenwich and we were coaching together. They had us up. I was like a guest coach for one game.
Right.
And I didn't realize that was this team.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And we went up guest coach, and it was like a regular game and everything. And they had a tough guy. It must have been really early in when they had the team, because the team wasn't that tough as I recall, but they had this one tough guy on the team. Everybody told me how tough he was. The game got a little carried away. So I sent the kid out there to go, straighten things out with the tough guy. Well, my guy that I sent out there got the crap beat out of him. And he was supposed to be so tough. He came back to the bench and he was pretty funny about it. I go, I thought you were tough. He says, I still know what happened. I asked me, he got beat up. So it's really funny. If everybody gets a chance to watch it, I can't remember.
I think one of the most interesting stories in it, one of their tough guys got hurt really bad. I don't know if he got slew foot or something in front of the net. And they went to him. They said, "Listen, we got the guy's address." He's like, "No, it's all right. Don't kill the guy, man. Whatever you do, yeah." They're like, we can take care of this for you." "No, it's all right."
Oh, that was funny stuff. It was good. But, at the end of the day, they won. Finally, there's a story in the father the FBI got after the father because
they finally got him. Yeah.
Part of it was that, so in those leagues, like the UHL, the East Coast League, there's a cap on what you can pay the players per week. And it's supposed to be pretty, and I guess you can help them with their education and housing that. So basically they were paying them the max and then giving them bags of cash.
Yeah.
So
like playing in Russia.
Oh, it was a classic thing to watch. And what was the name? Do you remember the name of it?
The team?
No, of the show itself, the Netflix show.
No, I don't. But it's the Danbury Thrashers. If you just go on Netflix and
it's
you can find it.
I thought it was Thrashers, but it's the Trashers.
Trashers. I'm sorry,
yes,
Trashers. Yeah.
So it was just even if you don't like hockey, it was a really funny documentary. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh no, it was great. It was really, and I knew some other. I had a kid, local kid, a big kid, 6'6", like 235, 240, and I got him a job up in Adirondack in UHL as a fighter. Right. In fact, he had one good fight. He fought what's the guy's name? Serge Roberge. Remember him?
Oh yeah.
They went for like 90 seconds, and Schicky hung in there. I mean, they were just toe to toe. But Schick was, he was the kind of kid, Steve, great kid. I still see him every once in a while. He just wasn't like, he was a very easygoing guy, right?
Yeah.
So I called him, hey, I said, how's it going up there? I said, who are you living with? He goes, oh, I'm living with the backup goaltender. I said, oh, cool. He goes, Mark, I had to yell at him. I'm like, Steve, you're the tough guy.
Yeah.
Get a little bit more.
Yeah.
But no, great kid. And he hung around there for about a fair amount of time.
That's good. What's going on in your life now? Beth still loves you and everything. Is that?
Well, she says, right. Who knows if it's true?
Are you a pretty romantic guy? I bet you are, right?
I wouldn't put it that way.
No,
I mean, I'm very thoughtful. That's a better way to put it. Yeah. I mean, at my age, I don't know, there's certain.
You talk about this age thing. You're like a 25-year-old. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you know what I mean. We don't go like for rowboat ride or anything like that. Yeah.
Oh, I can see that too. Yeah. I could actually see. I was yesterday. That's right. I was going by Rockefeller Center where the tree was showing. I guess the trees coming in and all that kind of stuff. And I could see you out there skating with Beth. Does Beth skate?
She has in the past, but she's got 5.5, almost 6 inches of steel rod in her back. So it's very difficult for her to do things that involve any kind of rotation.
Oh, really? What happened?
Yeah.
Did you? I think you told us a story. Did she get in an accident or something?
No, she had scoliosis when she was a child. And they had to, the way the whole story came out, I was explaining to her when I had my ACL and my left leg rebuilt. It was the old school. It wasn't any arthritis. It was 1984. So I had these big zipper cuts and I had a cast on from my groin all the way down to my toes. And I was trying to get some sympathy out of her when we first met. I said, you had to wear this cast for 8 weeks. And she goes, yeah, that's nice. I was in a full body cast for a year. I went, oh, okay. Can you pass me the
That's funny. I know. I told the story. It's like we were on the boat there, the barge there at the last swim across the Hudson.
Oh, Billy.
The guy saw my scar from the spleen. He goes, "Oh, we get the same scar." And I go, "Oh yeah, it's good spleen." No, I get shot.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, we going back to what I said before. We kind of get lulled into this. We forget who these guys are and what they've done. And the same thing, like with the kids in the wheelchair, like they're playing you because they're tough. They're tough kids.
That is true, right? Isn't that you really find like the sense of humor instead of sitting around? We played another thing. We were up in Richfield 5 or 6 years ago with the sled hockey team, and after the game was done, we were all outside. It was a nice day. We're sitting, I think, having a beer outside or whatever, and the guys are all talking about how they got paralyzed, what happened, and they're so fun. And when I know it sounds terrible, but they're the ones that were talking about it. It's like one guy was saying, I had the motorcycle and I used to come up this big hill and down the hill, and I didn't realize that they'd come in with the excavator and took the half of the hill away. So when there was no other hill.
There was nowhere to go.
But when he was telling the story, it's like he was funny, kind of laughing himself. And after a while, you're like, okay, I guess they're all right with it. So we're all right with it.
Yeah.
There's really nothing they can do about it at that point, right? So,
yeah. We used to ride our dirt bikes in a sand pit when I was a kid. And the same thing that you'd go up and it was like, oh, there's nothing here because they're moving around,
Yeah.
So you have to be kind of careful. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this weekend with this sled hockey because it's a big tournament. And there's 3 teams coming from Edmonton.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So
you happen to know if the Rangers sled hockey team is in it, or would they be?
I can find out. Probably are. Yeah, I would think they would be.
I'll call Rangers too. I'd love to. And where is this?
In Wayne, New Jersey. It's at the rink is called Ice Vault. They have 3 sheets there.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
We were Rob Gresham and I were at the Garden last night. And they had us up to the suites and everything, talking to people. It seemed like it was birthday night. We had some. I wish I would remember the names. There was a whole bunch of dads. It seemed like that was their birthdays. So the families got them a suite and everything. It's pretty cool. Like we'd walk in, and these are long lifetime Ranger fans. So we would walk in, and the dads had a few cocktails by that too. So they're all like emotional and everything. Seeing us, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I mean, it was great to see Capo kind of get on track last night.
Yeah, definitely.
And Lafreniere. I think there's a lot of pressure on Lafreniere. I think he handles it well.
Yeah.
But
I like him as a player, and this is a small thing. I'm nitpicking when I say this.
Yeah.
He scored a goal last night, and he just had to tap it in, but it's still a goal. And again, he is a young kid, so he's really excited. So instead of, I always look at sides like this. Instead of him going to his teammates and celebrating, he turned away.
I noticed that too.
Corner. It's kind of like, okay, you've got to learn. It's your team. First of all, your teammates.
Team's always first.
Yeah. But even if you score, like you go end to end and score a goal, you'd prefer the guy to go to his teammates and celebrate with his teammates. That's
what do you think about all the fact that Shesterkin keeps getting run? I mean, is there something out in the teams are just like, let's run this guy because he's not that big. Maybe we can hurt him.
Well, and even when Sammy Blais got hurt last night by Subban, I like the team that they have a lot. But the one thing that they were missing last year was that not just pushing back, but going at the other team more. Yeah. I didn't see any pushback with the Blais thing. There was no pushback.
No, it's disappointing, really.
Yeah. But again, I'd like what they're doing. Again, there's a lot of young kids, and you know how they are, young kids. They're just trying to survive out there, their careers, not just physically, but survive their careers.
You have to wonder too, like if you're guys like Reeves or who's that kid, Goudreau or whatever, or Tenorti, they go after somebody and then they get suspended. Then you don't have it's like kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, I know, but you've got to set that precedent. I mean, you want to win every game too. You got to always get points. It's just that making sure that you don't get the message to the rest of the league that they can continue. Even in the Pittsburgh game last night too, you saw where Pittsburgh lost like 8-1 to Washington or something. And I was the wrong guy to be doing it, but Sidney Crosby was going out there kind of fighting back a little bit. And again, you'd like to have somebody else other than him to do it. But
yeah, I think that the one thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the one thing the club is lacking is that kind of sandpaper guy. That every shift.
Yeah, I think they're there. Like a Blais is there.
Blais is, yeah, for sure.
It's just give us. But again, like it seems like Gerard Gallant has got them saying, okay, we need to win this game. That's what we're concentrating, winning this game, right? So that's But the game, when we say that too, the game's changed so much. Right. But you're right. You don't want Shesterkin getting run. That's for sure. But,
well, I mean, years ago when you got an 8-1 lead, you knew.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a rough night for somebody. Somebody's gonna take a beating.
Yeah, those nights in Philly, like if they were ever up by 3 or 4 goals, or we were up 3 or 4 goals, but you knew it was gonna happen. Yeah. Definitely. Well, good job, good seeing you again. Everybody's a little disappointed because of the weather. You have to cover up a little bit. Although, if you really cared about other people, you probably say this. I don't care how cold it is.
All right. Next Monday, I'll have a tank top on.
Okay, perfect. That's good. All right, everybody. We'll see Mark next week.
All right, guys.